In 1620, while the Mayflower was in Provincetown, 18 of its men sailed in a small shallop, searching for a place to live. They came to present-day Eastham, where they were met by a group of Nauset. After a brief but violent encounter, the English left towards today's Plymouth. In 2020, we remember this first encounter. We explore its meanings for today and tomorrow. Welcome back, everyone, to the Sunset Series with Eastham 400. My name is Joanna Hollick, and I'm the coordinator. I'm here today with Deborah Ullman. Deborah grew up here in Eastham and is a descendant of 5 of the 7 founding families here. She's also a member of the Nauset Fellowship Chapel in the Pines and is involved in several different racial justice groups. Today, Deborah is here to tell us a little bit about stories that connect us to people of different cultures and stories that connect us to the land that we live on, both in the times of the first encounter around 400 years ago and in our modern world today. So welcome, Deborah.
Thank you so much, Joanna. I'm really enjoying listening to the Sunset Series talks from other people who have sat in this chair. And I think you're all doing an incredible job. Yeah, I'm thinking vividly right now about how many of the stories we hear from the first encounter on through the 17th century are about the divisions, are about, Philip's War later in the century, and about the scruffy encounter on the beach that we all know and love just at the end of the road we're sitting on. But I'm also recognizing that there were so many ways that the English were dependent on the people who lived here before they got here and had been here for 10,000 years, as Tom Ryan has pointed out, and the ways that they were both dependent on land. And specifically, in this day and age, we need urgently to be learning about the connection between people and the land, or the relationship between people and the land we live on and that feeds us. So, I went back to the 17th century, the 18th century political economists who so have influenced American history and Western capitalist economics, Adam Smith and John Locke. Now, John Locke did specific indigenous studies and published them, and they had to do with, to some degree, more of a recognition of the humanity of indigenous people than was apparent by the time the Constitution was written. And at that point, slaves or people of color were only recognized as 3/5 of a human being. So there was a transformation during the 1700s around that issue. But I want to recognize that how we name things is not only important, but it's also part of the religious culture of many indigenous people. And the one I'm going to use as an example, because it's well documented, are the Haitians. After years, I think maybe 13 years of slave uprisings on the island of Santa Dominique, I think it was called then, they, in establishing the world's first black republic, they decided to name it Haiti out of regard for and reference to the indigenous people who had been already wiped out by the colonists, by the colonizers. So that's where the name Haiti comes from. Now let's, in a sense, fast forward to a recognition that names mattered to the people we're talking about from the 1620s. The Narragansetts were recognized by the Wampanoags as more successful at surviving the plagues, the epidemics that wiped out so many Wampanoags. And they also had a very strong practice of not naming people after they died. So the naming of especially sachems, or pawas, as the Wampanoags called them, the leaders who were spiritual leaders, the not naming them was considered crucially important. So historically, we have grown up, those of us who've grown up around here or who live here now, with the honoring of some of these important people. Samoset clearly was a diplomatic emissary, perhaps the first one to actually sit down and speak or stand up and speak with the English at the Plymouth colony. If you intersect the road we're sitting on right now, Samoset Road, with Herringbrook, it runs into Massasoit Road. There you go, and that's another sachem. Well, that's a sachem of the Wampanoags. So we have recognized the names all this time of the people who lived here before the English got here. And it hasn't done the surviving Wampanoags a great deal of good that we know of, but it's a deep spiritual practice of theirs that also ties in with it's a respect of their relationship to the land. I'm getting a little bit complicated here, but I want to circle back to Adam Smith and John Locke and what a different mentality it was, that even if they recognized the humanity of the people they were abusing and enslaving, they also decided through their moral philosophy, so-called moral philosophy, that it was a necessary evil in order for the economy in the new land to thrive. So contrast that with people who really understood that how they related to the land they were on had everything to do with how well that land treated them. And now in 2020, I think we as a global species are recognizing that that very key point has been lost to us in our economic practices. So there are ways, I've tried to bring in an awful lot of complicated, divergent points, but I think the stories that connect us now to the indigenous people then has a lot to do with developing a regard for how our particular land that we live on informs who we are and how we live with each other. So that's a mouthful.
Well, thank you so much, Deborah, for being here today to share your wisdom and your reflections with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
My name is Joanna Hollick. Thank you for watching today's episode of the Sunset Series. If you would like to support Eastham 400 efforts, I encourage you to visit our website, where you can buy commemorative items. When you visit eastham400.org, you'll see a yellow bar at the top with the words Purchase Commemoratives. If you click those words, you will be taken to a page where you can purchase each of our items. We are selling 3 different items. The t-shirts come in light blue, navy, and ash gray, and are available in sizes adult small through 3XL. The back of the t-shirt features the Eastham 400 logo designed by local artist Karen Ronaldo. The 3D ornaments are 3 inches in diameter and come in a gold foil box with a special description card. Each t-shirt and ornament is $20. We also have copies of an Eastham montage described in our video from June 3rd. Thank you.